we're going to introduce you to Annette. Annette is based in the wonderful community of Tamworth, and over the years has had the privilege of helping organisations spread the word about their good work, whether it's through social media, community newsletters, or chatting on the local radio. Peter and I did that the other day, Annette. Toastmasters has given her yet another platform to keep those stories flowing, and she has picked up a few simple marketing tips along the way. Annette is excited to share what we can do together to tell the story of Toastmasters, especially the impact it's having in the country towns like Tamworth. Annette has been a Toastmaster since 2022 and is an active member of two clubs, Tamworth Communicators and Tamworth Toastmasters. Fun fact, Annette crochets blankets for McDonald House and still owns one that her grandmother crocheted for her when she was just 6. Please join me in welcoming our Tamworth star, sharing us with her marketing skills, Annette Pascoe.
I'll just share my fabulous screen. So, thank you, Program Quality Director Nellie. I'm very excited to be talking to you tonight. Can you see? No, you have to actually hit green.
We can see your share screen there, Annette.
Fabulous. So tonight I'm excited to share with you some tips I've learned along the way, looking at how we actually market our clubs. And the first thing we need to do, believe it or not, is actually create a plan. Because often I hear people come into organizations and they have these great ideas and they actually sometimes don't even know what their goals and targets are. So a plan is just like making a cake. And tonight we're going to talk about how to make that cake with some purpose. And good question is, how do you actually change the slide? There you go. So, like every cake, it needs a recipe. And we have to think about our marketing plan as thinking about what are we going to do, for example, this year. You've become the VPE. What are you actually going to do for 2025-26 to attract new members to your club? And that prompts a question. Do you even know what your net growth target is for the year? It's a relatively common question. And I know when I first started being the VPE, I had no idea what the net growth target was. So I had to learn. And then you have to give some thought about your own goals and your club goals and how you're going to target your audience to meet your KPIs. How are you going to get those new Toastmasters? So then it boils down to every cake cooks at a different rate. So it creates a lot of questions. You have to think about, why do you even need the plan? And that's because without the plan, the best approach isn't general. So I often hear people talk about, oh, I've done this and I've done that, and I can't actually hear a plan. And they're using a very general, broad approach to how they start to create their marketing plan. Then you need to think about, what are you actually going to do? And think about, what are the segments in your community you want to target? The next thing to think about is, when we actually do this, because what we want to remove is a scattered approach. And think about, is this going to be a long-term venture or a short-term venture? Because Attracting new members isn't going to happen in 2 weeks. It actually can take 12 months to attract, a full 12 months to attract your 4 members or your club's net growth. And who are you going to ask to help you? Are you going to do it by yourself, or are you going to get a team together and work on this project? Because ultimately, everybody needs to be involved, but it's important to assign those tasks and ensure you're following up with them on a regular basis. And then you have to think about, what tools are you going to use? Are you going to use social media? Are you going to use the radio? Are you going to use the newspaper? Are you relying on just word of mouth? Are you going to go out and meet local CEOs or HR people? And in our community and smaller communities, those key partnerships can really help our growth. A really valuable thing is, how are you going to evaluate? How do you know how the visitor or the guest learnt about your club? And I can't wait to find out when a visitor comes to our club. I can't wait to ask that question. We often use SurveyMonkey. We use think about group reflection, and talk constantly about meeting your target. And if it's not working, why not? And I think you really need to be honest with yourself and really have a good, hard reflection as to why it's not working. So, your cake, the ingredients you will need. You need to think about how you're going to divide the sections of the cake up and what ingredients are going to make this cake work. So think about your demographics, think about your geography and the behaviors of the people that actually want to join. And connecting with potential members in a meaningful way. Are you actually delivering what they want, or are you delivering what you think they want? So this is a really interesting thing that I talk about on a regular basis, is who are you actually targeting. So the presentation that I took this from talks about, and I'll refer to that later on, talks about grouping people into segments. So looking at social seekers, looking at students, looking at professionals, looking at language improvers and long-term members. So then you need to think about your rainbow cake, because not every cake's the same. And it boils back to identification. As a team, figure out who you want to target at certain times of the year. So for an example, you wouldn't target accountants at tax time because they're just not going to turn up. They're too busy. And then you need to think about what they want. So if you're a professional person, the chances are you're going in for a fast impact. You want to get the job done because you're busy and likely to drop off. So an example of that is, we had a doctor in our group, and he could only come around his shifts. So he came for a good period of time, but has eventually dropped off. So think about the drop-off rate. And what are you going to give them? Are you giving them a mixed up, jumbled meeting, or are you really firm and connected with your agenda? What's the message you want to send out to the community? And again, what's the media that you're going to use? So for example, if you've got a retired person later in age, think about the newspaper. They still actually buy them and read them in the country. So I used a reference from the District 90 website, because we already have created so many amazing resources that often I think we don't go in and look at them and actually use them. So you can view this whole presentation that goes for around about an hour. I've just picked out snippets that I thought were valuable for tonight. And Carl Hughes was the person that actually presented this. So our resources. resources are a really important thing, and I recommend to find to find more resources, ask your Toastmasters friends. So these are my Toastmaster friends, and you'll see there's a broad cross section of people in our club. And then it's time to reflect. Do you need tea with your cake? And then you need to think about, are you going to put in the time? Do you have the energy? And what's your call to action? So if you need more help, please ask me. I'm happy to help you, and that's how you can contact me. And that's the end. So, are there any questions?
Annette, would you like to stop screen sharing, please, so we can see everybody online?
Yes.
Beautiful. I'll put this all onto gallery. Excellent. And does anybody have any questions for Annette? Oh, there you go. Our Club Growth Director, Elizabeth.
Hi, Annette. I'm revealing the darker side of myself. I'm VPPR for one of my clubs, and
Yes.
my issue, I haven't ever had much to do with PR stuff, which is why I elected to be the VPPR so I could learn. My
Yep.
issue is that although I want to promote my club, I my head just isn't in the right space. How can I get my place? How can I get my head into the space where I think about promoting the club? How can I motivate myself? I guess that's the short question.
Yep. So one of the things we've done is come together as a group and we create a plan with our executive group. So I know who we're going to target 12 months in advance. And we talk about that on the changeover because marketing's not a short-term solution to the problem. And the plan needs to be consistent for a number of years to show really strong net growth. And sometimes I think you just need to start.
Yep.
Start small, and sometimes one pitch is all you need. I find a lot of people put a lot of content on the Facebook posts and nobody looks at it. They'll scroll past, and you can tell that by the number of likes you're getting on the page.
And I agree
So
with you
less
on
is
that.
less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should only really have one sentence.
Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying, Annette, because what we did at the Blue Mountains Club, we had like we had specific intent of what we would do and what we wouldn't do because, you know, I don't think we've got the time or budget to do everything fantastic. And that's the
Yep.
reality for a lot of the clubs. But a lot of the clubs need to think about, what are the basics that we need to do? And I think that's probably a foundational piece where you need to have a basic marketing plan. You make sure you market your social media channels. And then you can think above and beyond that, what else would we like to do given what we want to achieve, as you said, link it to the strategic plan of the club, but also, yeah, just work out what can you do above and beyond. And I think before you go and do any big things, I think you can test it, and if it works well over a period of time, keep going.
Yep. And I think that's a secret. I would agree with Jason, is you do need to evaluate and you need to be honest, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, we do this and we do this and we do this, but A, are you doing it consistently?
Yeah,
And who are you actually targeting? Because I often hear them say, everyone, it's open to everyone, but
yeah,
it kind of doesn't work like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Agree. And what
yeah,
we wanted to do was like the time and effort against the actual benefit. Like
yeah,
if it's high cost, high resources, and it's not getting you what you want, it's something that you don't focus on because it's not giving you your bang for your buck, so to speak. And that's what we try to focus on. How can we get the bang for the buck?
Yeah. And I hear a lot of, oh, it's okay because we've got Speechcraft coming up. Well, the last 2 years, we haven't attracted a single member from Speechcraft. So
Yeah.
if you're waiting for term 3 of your year to attract your members, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
And
Yeah,
it depends on the
unlikely.
area. I think, it depends on the area. Like Blue Mountains is not, urban Sydney. So we find a lot of flies around works for some reason. So,
Yep.
putting them in key shops. Funnily, we put flies in gyms, and it was quite funny. The gyms, we got most of our new members from gyms. It was really weird. So it's those
Yep.
sort of things which are low cost, low effort, and you just have to evaluate it over time. Yeah.
Some of the feedback I've had when I've done marketing for other activities is I found the sign on the bin.
Yeah, yeah. And
It was on the back of the toilet door.
but I think people think flyers are low tech. They are, but if you put QR codes and websites and email addresses, they work really well.
Yep.
Okay, does anybody have another question at all for Annette? No, that's excellent. I think Annette hit the nail on the head before when she said doing it with the other executive. In Toastmasters, the executive roles, even though they are all different, if the executive continue to work together and that gets them strong, for instance, they usually say membership and the VPPR work together, but it doesn't have to be. It can be anyone, as long as each executive member has somebody that they can call on to do mailbox drops or to drop in and get some ideas. So I think that was wonderful, that presentation, Annette, very well done. And yeah, I'm excited that we could have 3 presenters here this evening. 2 have only been in Toastmasters for such a short time, and they just blew us away with their presentations, just absolutely wonderful. Christopher Veach, are you still online or are you hiding from me?
He's
I am
gone to
here.
get some cake.
Now, Chris, I did send you a text in your chat. Did you get that? Go to your chat button and open it up and see if you agree or not.
Yes, I would.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to ask Christopher Veach, who is a past district director and has been a Toastmaster for a very long time, possibly longer than you, Tom. And Christopher's going to do a vote of thanks for us. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Nellie. I'm actually delighted with the way the presentations have been put together tonight and very impressed. Needless to say, I've always got to be impressed by Ramalka. The sharing the screens with the information provided is excellent. And what my biggest disappointment about tonight is that we haven't got the message out to the people that need to hear what Annette and Ramalka and Tom have said. And it's fascinating to me that we are using all these methods to reach out, but we can't seem to reach out to our own members or our own VPPR. And that is what I hope we can encourage them. There's got to be another way to get that message out. So I want to really say thank you very much to each of the presenters, because you have encapsulated all those things that we need to know, need to do, and to keep cracking on. So well done, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for that vote of thanks there, Christopher. Excellent. Look, we've had a great night this evening. We do have to repeat it again on Sunday afternoon. So if there's anything that the other people would like to come in and listen to, I have sent an email to all the Vice President of Public Relations in District 90 and the division directors. So hopefully we may have a bigger crowd to entertain. But I think Ramalka, Annette and Tom did an excellent job. And right on 8 o'clock, how good is this? You've inspired Elizabeth, good on you. Does anybody else have anything to say before I close this meeting? No? Okay. Good on you. Thanks, Harash. I was going to ask you to show yourself and ask a question, but that's good enough. Good on you. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks again, everybody, and good night.
Thank you.